So welcome everyone. I am Crypto Luis, and this is Money on Chain Talks with Saro. Today is a very special day because we're having a very special guest for all of Bitcoiners and students and developers of Bitcoiners. A very well regarded person, and she's here with us. She's Lisa, aka Nifty Nay. We're about to have her into the stream. So hi Lisa, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, I'm good. Hello. Thanks for having me. How's it going?
All good, all good. Very thrilled about the upcoming event BTC plus plus. But first of all, I wanted to show you the T-shirt I'm wearing today. This is maybe the T-shirt of the 22 edition of
Yeah,
BTC
Bitcoin
plus
plus
plus.
plus Mexico City. Yeah, we did a lot of
Yeah,
luchador stuff.
I
Oh, it's
actually
okay.
didn't visit Mexico, but a friend of mine brought it to me here in El Salvador.
Oh,
So
awesome.
but I'm looking to go to assist to one of these BTC plus plus because I'm not a developer, but as a journalist, I cover many technical topics on Bitcoin. So I do my best to understand, and I have good relations and high regards for you developers and technical people. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, and thanks for helping us talk about Bitcoin plus plus coming up in Buenos Aires. We're really excited to be back in LATAM for our fifth ever Bitcoin plus plus. This is going to be our second one in a Spanish speaking country, and it's in Buenos Aires. It'll be February 22nd to 24th. So we're just 10 days out from the start of the conference. I'm super excited. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers coming. Whenever we did the one in Mexico City, just over almost 2 years ago now, I guess. I think. Well, it was just over a year ago. Um, the theme of that conference, so every Bitcoin plus plus we do a different theme. The theme of the conference in Mexico City was all about privacy, which is why we use like the luchador masks as the theme. For this conference, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin payments. So yeah, we've got lots of people coming who are working on wallets. We've got the team from Bolt Exchange is going to be there. Got a friend locally who's going to be talking about how to do NFC stuff. Negrancher Francisco is going to be talking about Mostro, which is how you make peer-to-peer Lightning payments to do exchange. Um, yeah, we're really excited. So.
So yeah, beyond discussing the in the event in detail, I have so many questions for you. Are you living in Buenos Aires now, or you staying for the season?
No, so if you click on the website, if you just click on that first top image, it'll open up more details about the yeah. Um, so no, I'm not in Buenos Aires. I live in Austin, so I'll be down in Buenos Aires starting next week to get ready for the conference. One of the reasons that I'm doing it in Buenos Aires is that I'm good friends with Francisco Negranch, who
Mm-hmm.
lives in Buenos Aires, and then I have another friend who I'm good friends with from the Houston Bitcoin scene, who's also from Buenos Aires. So between the two of them, they've been very helpful at getting this like set up, getting the venue picked out, making sure that we invite all kinds of locals to come and present. Yeah, it should be great. We've got Lorenzo coming, we've got Sergio Lerner coming. Lorenzo's going to come over from Brazil. Sergio is one of the OG like Bitcoiners from Buenos Aires proper, or Argentina. So super thrilled that he'll be there to give us a keynote. Brizzy is one of the local Bitcoiners down in Argentina who is a Bitcoin core dev. He's going to be coming. Um, yeah. Oh, the Amboss team is going to be there. They're doing some really cool stuff around Lightning as a payment network.
Yeah, so I'm hoping Francisco can join us today. I invited him today. I was watching the Spanish stream you did last week, and you guys had a lot of fun there. Francisco is a great developer. His contributions, and I don't know, he's like a leader or someone we admire pretty much. He's from Venezuela, So
Yeah,
that
originally.
make us really proud.
Yeah.
So, but had you ever been in Buenos Aires or Argentina?
Mm. Yeah, sorry, I'm so bad. I'm eating snacks. I've been to
No way.
Buenos Aires the first time maybe 2 years ago now to go to La BitConf, which if you're not familiar with La BitConf, and maybe most people like, in the English speaking world aren't as much, it's a really amazing big crypto conference, probably one of the biggest I would say in the world. It's a big umbrella conference, which means they invite, I guess it's a lot like Consensus is a big conference in the US. It's a crypto conference run by CoinDesk.
Mhm.
It's umbrella. They invite everyone from all different chains and projects. It's not just Bitcoin focused. Um, so I was lucky enough to be invited to come talk like 2 years ago. It was super fun. They let me talk in Spanish, so I got to give my presentation on layers, Bitcoin layers in Spanish, and hang out in Buenos Aires. I had such an amazing time. They usually do it in November every year, and it was really good. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a fun conference. I've been in the one that they did in El Salvador in 21.
yeah, okay.
So
I
they
didn't really,
always do great events, and the variety of talks is super huge. All the kind of people that assist to that conference, and they also know how to throw parties and and have
the
fun
parties are,
during
yeah,
the event and also after the event.
exactly. They're really well known for their social events as well as the conference programming. So yeah, I
So the
had so
reason
much fun.
the reason I was asking you about if you lived or visited Buenos Aires before, is because I mean the topic of the Bitcoin plus plus upcoming conference is about payments.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you have any experience or prior knowledge about how Bitcoin is being used for payments in Argentina, and what can you tell us about it, and maybe we can did you find a reason into that to make the conference in Argentina? Is it related? And if it's not, you can just share your experience with it, and we'll move forward to
Yeah,
discuss other.
definitely. Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think, Buenos Aires was a little bit strategic that way. Whenever I was picking it, it's because one of my friends who is from Buenos Aires was like, there's just a lot of companies and projects, I think, that are more kind of Latin American based, so to speak, that are trying to do payments. Like Ibex is one of the companies that comes to mind. There's Pay with no, not Pay with Moon. The Moon Wallet is based in Buenos Aires. We weren't able to get them to commit to coming to the conference, but they're definitely there and like part of the local scene. Um, Buenos Aires also has like a as a country, like making payments and payments is kind of like a difficult thing, right? Like um up until like the presidential election, like prior to late last year, um doing a like if you whenever you visit, like the exchange rate stuff is all kind of complicated, being able to like get enough cash to pay for things, you have to bring a backpack if you're running a big event, that sort of thing. So it just seemed like kind of a timely topic. And now is like after, I've planned it and I've been talking and meeting with more community groups that are down there. It There's just so many people that are working on the payments aspect. So talked to a really cool company called Belo. That's a Buenos Aires app, and they let you basically, my understanding is you can like store your money in Bitcoin, and then when you want to pay, you can like do it at the point of sale kind of transfer, and it integrates with all the like existing payment rails and stuff. So, in terms of just like number of people that are thinking deeply about what the payment flow is if you're holding your money in Bitcoin and then using it, paying with, I guess you're not necessarily paying with Bitcoin. Well, sort of. But they've kind of like, built this interface where you can take your Bitcoin and you can use it to pay in any of the traditional like payment means, etc. So yeah, I think it's a really, really great arena or like venue for talking about payments. And I'm really hoping that we get some really great people and builders out that will be able to contribute to the conversation. So
So did you you met a lot of the of developers working on that area of payments in Buenos Aires, right?
Yeah, not so many that I know personally, but I know there is a big, like a decent size, like ecosystem of them. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in Argentina, and is very productive when they start to applying their knowledge to the local context and challenges.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
I'm looking.
exactly.
Mhm. I'm
I was
looking
hoping.
forward to
Oh, sorry. Go
learn what they are gonna bring up to the table because um, here I mean, you would think that El Salvador was going to be like that ground for testing these different type of payment systems, but there are so many places around the world, and maybe they doesn't have the impulse to do it because Bitcoin is not like legal tender in those countries.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the necessity to do these things, but there's a lot of I don't know, maybe restraint from the companies or VCs and developers itself into creating these products and services.
Yeah, and I think like talking to one of the local groups, so there's a big kind of community that's very Bitcoin focused called La Cripta. We're going to be holding one of our final last night party is going to be at the La Cripta space. Talking to them about it, one of the things that they mentioned is that like for Buenos Aires, like in Argentina, they really are proud of how grassroots the movement for building, for making Bitcoin a medium of exchange and building tools that help people hold their wealth in Bitcoin and spend kind of locally. Again, they're like very proud of the fact that as a nation, Bitcoin adoption and usage in Buenos Aires and Argentina is all like grassroots and local. It wasn't mandated by the government. It's not like someone came to power and was like, you have to use Bitcoin now. It's come out of necessity and need, and it's been like finding a real product market fit, so to speak. So that's really cool for them to see. And especially when you do compare it to like, El Salvador, I think has done a really great job of making it something that people use. And they're definitely on the forefront of building out the capacity. Like, I think they were the first place McDonald's had to accept lightning payments, right? Like that's pretty big. Like that's a huge accomplishment as a nation, right? And that's the kind of like clout, so to speak, that you get when you do it at the national level. But I think it does, as a project, take a different kind of tone, so to speak. It just like feels a little different.
Yeah, of course, like different contexts, different needs, and also the history with inflation, like because here in El Salvador, of course, they made the US dollar legal tender, but they haven't gone through these hyperinflation episodes like Venezuela or Argentina or even in other countries. So the need to use Bitcoin and even so stable coins and other financial tools in a decentralized way is bigger.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, actually. Yeah, and actually Tether is a big sponsor of the conference this time, and we're super happy to have them on as a conference sponsor. And I think it does, really speak to like, using USDT, like USD Tether is so much easier and more accessible to anyone. Because like I think one of the things about like crypto, like stable coins and Bitcoin is that it's at the end of the day, it's so much more accessible to be able to download an application, save some seed words, and then have someone, you immediately have an address you can send to someone to pay you money. And that person can pay you money from literally anywhere in the world, right? Like we have global, like, like WhatsApp and Telegram or global communication platforms. It's really easy for me to send a Bitcoin address anywhere in the world and have someone pay it from, excuse me, wherever they are. And that, I think that's like, I don't want to call it undervalued because I know the people that do it and use it for that, it has its real value, but it makes these kinds of like digital assets just so much more accessible to everyone. And I think that's kind of getting paid in Bitcoin is like really cool because you can get paid in Bitcoin no matter where you are, no matter like, well, you have to have access to the internet mostly. So there is a little bit of requirements. But it really, I think, is changing the way that we gate who's able to pay who. You don't have to have access to a bank account and be able to set up like a credit card acceptance thing in order to be paid, for conference tickets, for example. So like Bitcoin plus plus conference tickets, I think a big percent of people who buy tickets to the conference pay with that for them in Bitcoin, which is cool.
So let's talk about the different projects, or yeah, that you are maybe excited to meet with during the event. I suppose every developer will bring their own projects and present it to you or the other mentors and see how how you can help, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the things that I'm the most excited about here, I'll open up the talks. Maybe I can share my screen really fast. One sec. Let me flip over on my little thing to see if I can hang on. Which one? This one? Yeah, okay. So I don't know if you can see that now. I guess I can
Yeah,
get
I
back
can see it now.
the middle. Okay, so I'm on the talks page. So if you go to Bitcoin plus plus and then tick on talks, you'll end up on this page. Um, one of the things I'm excited about all the talks, but one of the ones that I think is going to be really cool. So I'm a big fan of the Bolts project. They've been making they basically do Bitcoin swaps. So if you hold like Tether on the Liquid network and you want to swap it to Lightning, or if you have Lightning and you want to get paid out onto like, I don't know if they go USDT, but you can like swap into and out of the Liquid network. They're like, I feel like they really were on the forefront of that. They built that functionality out years ago. I've been using them a lot for Alby to like swap Lightning to on-chain. So like I'm really excited just to kind of hear about their experiences and challenges. And they're running a workshop that kind of talks through what atomic swaps are. And I think atomic swaps, it's a more technical topic, but they're really important for being able to let people kind of exchange like a Lightning for an on-chain Bitcoin in a way that's trustless. So I'm really looking forward to that talk. I think it's an important kind of conversation about how to move between layers inside of like Bitcoin, so to speak. Another one that I'm really excited about is this Lightning Live play thing. This is going to be kind of this project that Farscapian has been working on for a few years now. He has it set up so that you can really easily spin up an entire Lightning network on Core Lightning and let anyone in the conference who wants to participate basically sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but I think that the general idea is that it lets you set up a Lightning node network really quickly and easily, so you can test it out. You can set up like a game so everyone can like on their phone use and play with the Lightning nodes on that little like test network. So ideally, it makes it really easy if you want to test something out on like a big network. It's a great like application to do it. And so that makes, hopefully, if you're trying to like build Lightning applications, makes it easier to like test stuff out as you go. Yeah. Let's see, maybe I can pick like one more I'm really excited about. I'm excited about all of them. Um, oh,
Yeah, we got plenty of time to learn about each and every one of them.
Yeah, so there's the other one that should be really good is this guy named Alex Lewin. He's a member of the Bitcoin Atlanta kind of Bitcoin ecosystem. He's going to be talking about how to win Bitcoin hackathons. So I've known Alex for a few years now, and he's right. He and his team, they go into Lightning hackathons pretty regularly and they win pretty regularly. So he's going to, I put him, I think, yeah, on the second day, right before we start the hackathon. And the idea is you'll be able to go to his workshop, and there's a couple of events like that are really similar. So if you want to hopefully the way that the event works, we're gonna have a day and a half of talks and workshops, and then the second day and a half is going to be all hacking. So everyone who comes is like strongly encouraged to try something, try building something, finding a team, that kind of thing. And Alex is going to be right before lunch, before the hackathon event starts. And so he'll be going through like, here's how you can turn your ideas into a hackathon thing. And hopefully that gives people ideas to think about. And then during lunch, hopefully we'll help people find partners to work with, or kind of just pair people up who want to do different things. And then at the end of it, everyone will be presenting a project. And then we'll have hackathon awards, which should be great. I should also point out, it's not up here yet. I need to get a picture from them. I'm still waiting to get a picture. The Rootstock team is sponsoring one of the hackathon tracks. So if you end up building on the Rootstock stack, there's going to be a prize that you can get. I think it's like $3,000. So it's going to be pretty good in terms of like, so if you want to come and hack and try to win a hackathon prize, come. We're going to have people from Rootstock helping you build projects. We're going to have lots of smart Lightning developers. Chris Guida is another one. He's going to be running a workshop on how to make core Lightning plugins. So if you wanted to take an idea about how to make a core Lightning plugin do something, you can go and get like your project started at the workshop. Again, he's going to be the same time as Alex in the morning. So you can go and get your plugin started and up and running. You also have one on Greenlight. I have all these workshops at the same time. So for those who don't know, Greenlight is kind of this lightweight, I guess these are all lightning things. That's fine. Greenlight is a lightweight. Is lightweight the right word? I think so. Way of using Lightning such that you don't have to manage running the node for people. You can just let them manage their keys, and Greenlight will manage the node for you. So basically how you can build kind of a multi-user Lightning application without worrying about questions of custody, because your users retain access to the keys. But you can build a big scalable application and not have to worry about whether or not you're compliant with, at least in the United States, custody of funds, because you don't actually have custody. The Lightning basically exists on the users, in the user's possession on their app, which is cool. Yeah. What else have we got in here? Got a lot of stuff. Got someone showing off how to sync a full node. This is a project Flash that Dread is building. He's going to be talking about Flash. So his is actually built on top of Greenlight. So this is an application project that's using Greenlight as the backend to build like a mobile app, which focuses on accessibility and usability, especially for the Caribbean nations, is my understanding.
So does Greenlight has anything to do with the concept of Lightning Watchtowers?
That's a good question. I think the idea with Greenlight is that basically your node runs in like a big server, like a big server farm that's managed by Blockstream. And Blockstream is effectively going to act as like a watchtower for your node, which is cool. So it's not explicitly a watchtower, but as a service, I believe it has like watchtower like functionality baked in. So yeah, it kind of takes all of the edge cases, the edges around running a Lightning node away from the users, and also away from the application developers, right? So if you wanted to build like a scalable Lightning application, you could utilize Greenlight for your backend and avoid a lot of the hassle and headache around having to worry about keeping your node up.
Okay. I
Ah.
wanted to ask you, this is basically all of these workshops are focused on Lightning, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Okay, but there's anything related to on-chain payments?
That's a great question. I actually don't think we have a lot of on-chain payment stuff. I think that
Okay,
if you I think that if you consider I think if you consider what's the word? Oh man. There it is. I think if you consider like what do you call it? I kind of consider bolts to be sort of an on-chain payments thing, but I think you're right. Maybe the majority of the speakers are going to be talking about lightning things. So, um,
So
yeah.
why is that? Like, what's the
Probably because it comes from like my network of people are all like building on lightning stuff. I also think like when you start looking at what people are currently building. Oh, we did have a talk from a Bitcoin core dev on something called silent payments. So that's a way that you can interact. You can basically do a payment on chain in such a way that no one can tell you're basically like you're not really reusing addresses, but it makes it such that you don't have to like send someone a new address every time. But he had to cancel. So I think what the truth is, like, so Bitcoin plus plus is really like the talks and speakers that we get are really from people that are working on whatever current projects are. I guess I had yeah, wait, there's also I invited the PageWing guy, but he told me he had to go this was skiing season, so he wasn't going to be able to make it. So I think like, it's a reflection of both there's like a lot more people working on doing payments with Lightning, and so there's a lot more builders to come and invite for that particular topic, as well as like the few people I knew that were doing on-chain stuff weren't able to attend this time. So that's kind of how we ended up where we are.
hopefully, yeah. So uh, what is your stance on the current Lightning developments and maybe challenges? Like there's a lot of people that say that Lightning doesn't scale, is becoming more and more centralized, or is too hard to manage a node, and the only way to do it successfully is to delegate the custody and the management of a node to be able to use Lightning in a swiftly way. So due to the fact that this conference has most of the workshops are about Lightning, I am curious about your stance and your approach to Lightning development in the current times.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just looking at across all the people that are coming, I think it's good evidence that a lot of what people say on the internet is a little bit of like, it's a little bit of sensationalism and that it becomes something to talk about. I definitely think that there are challenges around Lightning, but I think it's definitely a sign that like there is a lot of effort and building happening in and with Lightning. And as much as like people want to say it's difficult and it's hard to do, that doesn't hasn't discouraged people from still like working to make it better. So I think like projects like Greenlight are a good attempt to make, running a node is too complicated, or as an app developer, having to learn about how Lightning works is like more than work that I want to put in order to build like a successful payment like application. I think that, as projects that people have been working on, like so Greenlight, I believe has been really been like the dev who's building that has been working on it for like 3 or 4 years at this point. Um, so it's like one of those things that like it's finally getting to the point where people are able to start building applications and it's rolling out. And that kind of work takes a lot longer than it does to like stand up and like be unhappy about how the protocol currently works. So yeah, well, I think again, like there's definitely lots of challenges to Lightning. It definitely has a bit of a not problem, but there's definitely some bottlenecks around, on-chain fees, etc. I am bullish on Lightning still, and I think that there's still a lot of stuff happening in that ecosystem. So
Yeah, like Lightning has a lot of people working on it. So is I don't know if it's easy, if that's the word, to feel bullish about Lightning, because I mean what I feel is like it's in good hands, and there are more and more upcoming developers being curious about this protocol, and they have this very balanced stance about it. So that's what it takes them to take action and apply their knowledge and think a lot about it and figure it out how to solve these issues or limitations.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, and I think honestly, yeah, like the talent that's in Lightning is great. It's some of the, we've got some of the best developers and builders in the space are working on Lightning projects and making Lightning easier. So it is hard now, but I think in time, eventually, it'll get better. I think is my thought.
Yeah, and the events like, or conference like Bitcoin Plus Plus will definitely help.
And I think the thing about it that like detractors, people will say, look at XYZ service, like they have so much like participation and they have so much participation and um uh I lost my train of thought. That's okay. But like I think the end of the day, like, people will say like I think one of the examples people are like Bit refill. So many people are using that project, but they're using something that's not Lightning. Like Lightning isn't the number one use case, or at least wasn't a while ago. Um, I think that, it's hard to take what one organization did as like a good sign of what the general ecosystem is. Another thing is like, Lightning is getting used lots. I've been using it a lot for like geyser fund stuff. I did a base 58 project where we raised over $10,000 on geyser fund for a project. And that was all, I think, pretty sure that was all sent over Lightning, right? So I think like as a payment rail system and River, the organization, the payments organization who's US based, they've got like an enormous what do you call it? Like they've got an enormous footprint in terms of number of Lightning payments that they're routing. I think part of what makes Lightning so hard to kind of make good statements or good publicity about is it's so hard to get really firm, solid numbers. So if you want to like report on Lightning, you actually have to go out and do some real like detective work to figure out where the payments are going because it's not all on chain. It's not something you can easily just run a SQL query and figure out. It's not something where you can look through whatever. It's like designed to be private by nature. And I really do think that makes the publicity around Lightning. It's like very easy to say no one's using it because it's hard to refute that because of how private it is. So, being private is like really good for privacy, which means that no one can find out about it, but really bad for public relations because it's hard to prove any of the things that you may think are true.
Yeah, I agree that people definitely underestimate how hard it is to break Lightning privacy. I mean, departing from the basis that, I mean, if you add these heuristics one after another and you build your own approach to break Lightning privacy, of course you someday can do something about it and you can hit the pot, but it's super hard. I mean, it's just theoretical, right? And
Yeah.
that's one thing I think the Lightning detractors have failed to achieve, to truly break or demonstrate that Lightning isn't private at all as they depict it.
Yeah, it's hard to prove. And I think that's one of the funny things, right? Is like
Yeah,
they might want to, but they can't. Yeah. I mean, I think Lightning is really fairly well designed. It really made, I think, privacy a central part of its design and what it made going out there. And I would argue that like Bitcoin needs that. Bitcoin needs something that's more private than on chain. Um, I feel like at least in the United States, paper cash is going away. It's disappearing. It's not really a thing people use anymore. Um, I think that like we as like I don't know. I think that the ability to have a private payment system that is generally accessible to most people is really important from a civil liberties perspective. So, yeah, I am I don't know. I'm like it's not that I think that Lightning has to succeed. I think it already has greatly succeeded, far exceeded any particular like metric of success. But I think that going forward over the next decade, it's going to be really exciting to watch it grow and turn into, hopefully, like a more widely accepted and used network, as more people build more applications and businesses on top of it.
Yeah, I think most of the industry we has normal people as end user uses Lightning, like because it's it's just a small amount of normal people, normal users that does on-chain payments on a daily day basis, especially with the fees how they were. Uh, Gladly, the mempool emptied in the last few days, but you know how it was. It was a mess for using
Yeah,
on-chain payments.
I mean, the mempool is such a fascinating piece of Bitcoin, right? Like how you have to wait in line to get your transaction in a block, and you're kind of bidding against everyone else also waiting in line to get their transaction in a block. I think it's interesting to watch the mempool get empty around the time, like right, at least today, the Bitcoin price is back up to levels we haven't seen in 2 years, more than 2 years, right? Since Bitcoin's been worth as much as it is like just today. I mean, tomorrow it might be back in half, who knows? But it's been, I don't know, like there's definitely not, I think, a strong correlation between the mempool and the price, which is just kind of interesting to see.
You
But
you think not?
I don't think so. No. I mean, it's funny that mempool's emptying out on the same day that like we're having like big price
Yeah.
gains. So I'm like, I feel like that kind of breaks the whole narrative there. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if maybe some data analysts is like maybe Glassnode or someone can argue about that point. You know, they always analyze these on-chain inflows and all these transactions amounts. But I don't know if the mempool has something to do with that. It made me curious to find out if they do.
Yeah, it's an interesting research question for sure, I think. The other thing that I would like probably bring up about on-chain payments is like one of the metrics that Unchained Capital, they're like a they're kind of like a Bitcoin, I would say, bank, except like they help you hold your coins. So if you have a multi-sig, they'll be like one of your two of three, kind of one of your three people that can sign for the coins. So you can use them sort of as a backstop. Um, they have an interesting chart that they were showing about all the on-chain Bitcoin. The last time that it moved was like years ago. So basically people buy Bitcoin and then like hold it. And those Bitcoin coins just like don't go anywhere. And we were at an all-time high in terms of percent of on-chain transactions that haven't been moved in the last year. Um, so I think that's a really good indication when you look at that, and then you look at something like the River kind of research they put out last fall with the number of lightning payments. I feel like that makes a pretty solid story about how like people are using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. It's just not being on-chain stuff. But I think, again, like the Bolts team, they're going to be at the conference. I'm really interested and excited to see what they have to say about uh, like the on-chain swap stuff, right? So like they really, I think, have a good understanding of people that are doing a lot of Lightning stuff. Like what is their relationship between like doing Lightning payments and then also on-chain payments? Like how are people doing that? Like what have they seen volume wise, that kind of thing. So that should be hopefully a really interesting talk, I think.
Yeah, I think I know a few of their team members, and they, of course, they know a lot about Lightning and atomic swaps and all these channel balancing stuff that also involves on-chain knowledge. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, so maybe I ran out of questions. It was an interesting conversation. And are these workshops gonna be streamed or recorded in any way? I recall that the past conference was super private, the one in Mexico.
Yeah, so the Mexico one, we didn't have as much. We had some recordings. There's some recordings from it, but so the plan for this conference is we're probably just gonna record stuff live. Getting a live stream working is usually a lot of work. And while that's a fun and nice thing, we'll have recordings available after the fact. And currently we're planning on recording everything, so everyone will have that.
Yeah, that because it's like there's so many things being discussed in these workshops that is almost a shame that it doesn't get out to the world for everybody to know. Like, you should really make it open source and free for all to listen to what was discussed in there. So many great
Definitely.
ideas, so many talented people sharing their experience, their knowledge. Like, it really should be done
Yeah,
live.
exactly. And, like, that's kinda one of the hopes of having all these great, speakers and stuff come is this gives them an opportunity to make a record of their work and workshops that they're thinking and hopefully spread more information that, experts know and understand, like, that's really what we're aiming to do with, like, the Bitcoin plus plus, like, series of conferences, right? Every edition, we invite experts from a particular part of the Bitcoin ecosystem to share what they know so that more people one, it gives them an opportunity and an audience to take what they know and kind of share it with other experts as well as people that are newer and want to learn. But also, we do make those recordings and can make them available and something that will be around as a record of what they were working on at that time or how they were thinking about it at the time, which I think is pretty cool. So
Yeah, you could definitely see the evolution of ideas and developments in that way.
exactly, yeah. Bitcoin plus plus is a little famous. I like to think of it being the first place that the ordinals and inscriptions. I know everyone has different opinions on that, but we were the first conference that ever had like an ordinals workshop. Before it was even like a protocol, it was in like the beta testing stage. So now we're hoping maybe we'll get some similar stuff for the payments ecosystem. Just like early projects people are working on.
Cool. So we actually have a contest from Money on Chain, which
Yeah,
is in the Spanish account, but we will share it on the English one. Or, well, I'll discuss that with the team, but you will get the chance to earn a 50% discount. I'm going to share my stream right now um, for you guys to see the flyer and all the information. And maybe, Lisa, you can add up some commentary about that. Can you see it my screen now?
I can't see it. No.
Oh, no.
There
Yeah,
it goes.
okay.
Now
There,
going.
here we are.
Perfect.
So yeah, just share this Spanish account tweet, like and repost, follow Money on Chain, the Spanish account, and BTC plus plus, and mention a friend in the response to this tweet, and you'll get the chance to win a 50% discount on your ticket for Bitcoin plus plus Buenos Aires edition. You
Yeah.
don't want to miss it.
I am so excited about it, and I'm really excited about having the Money on Chain community show up. So, yeah, guys,
Yeah,
come and
so there are going to be two winners, and the winners will be announced next February 16, which is in
perfect.
just 3 days.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
so, Lisa, what is the Roostalk hackathon about? If
Yeah,
you
so
can tell
there's
us a little bit about that.
yes, at the hackathon, we're going to have, Rootstock people there, and so they're gonna be sponsoring one of the prizes for so if at the Bitcoin plus plus hackathon, if you build a project on Rootstock, that'll make you eligible for the Rootstock prize. I need to update the website with this stuff. I tend to get kind of behind on stuff. So they're gonna have a workshop ahead of the conference, ahead of the hackathon, and then they'll have people there at the hackathon helping people build on it. So we're really excited about having them on board, and we're looking forward to seeing what people build using Rootstock as a project. I'm excited about it because I heard about Rootstock for a long time, but I've never had the opportunity to really get to know or see, how it works. So I might try. I don't know. I don't think I'm eligible to win a hackathon prize, but I might try building something just to see how easy or hard it is to do.
Great. No, you should. And I think we are at this stage where um, sidechains should get more traction and get, you know, um, shared among developers and the programming community and leaders into the Bitcoin space, because I think we are at the stage now. We just overcome a lot of things and debates and civil wars in Bitcoin, and now is the time for to discuss these type of solutions, including sidechains like Rootstock, or maybe other things that can be done on chain, like the covenants and all that stuff that I know we are gonna see a few more proposals during the upcoming years.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Yeah, I hope so. And so we're going to be doing another Bitcoin Plus Plus conference in May in Austin, Texas. That's going to be covering a lot of Bitcoin scripts and hopefully all the new proposals about how that'll work. So I'm quite excited about that. But it's definitely a busy spring. We've got this payments conference in Buenos Aires, kind of to catch the end of the summer down in um, South America. So that should be the weather should be really nice. And then after that, we'll be back up in Austin in May, talking about Bitcoin scripts and covenants and what that means for Bitcoin. How do they work? Hopefully, we'll have some really good discussions and building. That one will also have a full 2-day hackathon. And hopefully on that one, we'll be seeing a lot more people building cool and interesting stuff with like Taproot and
Mhm.
all the new opcode covenant stuff. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah.
So you were telling me that you organize Bitcoin Plus Plus twice a year.
Well, I think this year we're gonna have we're talking about doing 4 Bitcoin plus pluses this year,
Okay.
um, but
Are you planning to go to Europe or Asia maybe for the next couple ones?
yeah. So the next
Africa?
one, yeah. So this one's in Buenos Aires. After this, we'll be in Austin, up in Texas. That was our original conference spot. It's where I live, so it's kind of like our hometown conference. We were in Berlin last fall. We're in talks to probably go back to Berlin in the fall. And then we're in early talks for another Latin American, South American conference for the end of this year. So that one we'll hopefully be saying more about or announcing at the end of the Buenos Aires conference. So yeah, we're no plans to go to Asia quite yet. Typically, it kind of depends on. It's definitely, I think, constrained by who I know and who's able to help run things on the ground. So, um, but yeah, that's how things are going. Yeah.
Maybe you should do one in El Salvador in the future.
Definitely, yeah. I would love to do in there, and thanks to the Cubo Plus program, which is a really cool event to help train developers in El Salvador about Bitcoin. I was lucky enough to get invited down to teach a 2-day class about Lightning last year. Yeah, I think that it would be a really great place to, maybe we can do a partnership with Cubo Plus and bring in some great talks and get a really good what do you call it? It's really great to be able to shine a light on local developer talent too. So really pull that in. But not this year, probably.
Mhm. Well, I hope it's as soon as possible. So to finish this stream, talk about the side events. I know Rostock is having one after the conference. I believe is on
Yeah, so the
February,
first
February 22nd. Yeah.
They're
Hmm.
gonna be the first night. So the first day is all talks and workshops, and then that night, Rootstock is gonna be having a really great happy hour. I'm really excited about it. Hopefully it'll be a good time for people to meet, people from Rootstock ahead of the hackathon, which starts the next day, and get an idea about what it's like building on there. And then we haven't quite finalized the plans for the last days. I think we're gonna do it. We're talking about doing a bar crawl on the second day of the conference that will help feature all of the local bars that accept Bitcoin. So it'll be an opportunity for conference goers to go through, see a bunch of different businesses in Buenos Aires that are using Lightning for payments. So that's we don't have a page for it yet, but we're talking about it. And then on the last night, we'll probably have a big kind of a final end of conference party at La Cripta, which is one of the local kind of hacker organizations that's really working on bringing Bitcoin as a payment rails to Argentina and the wider Latin America. So we're really excited to be with them. So yeah, I think we'll have some really, really good events. Bitcoin Plus Plus, is for builders, and we tend to be more low key, so it won't be like anything super blowout, I don't think, but should be a really good time with lots of great beer and hopefully really good asado, right?
Well, Lisa, thank you for your time and sharing all your insights beyond the event. Very happy to have the discussion with you and learn about your vision about Bitcoin payments and scalability and lightnings and all the things that we discussed. And wish you the best in your event.
Thanks.
We we're gonna definitely support you and looking forward for the videos and the live streams and the recordings that you're gonna do. Hopefully,
Yes,
you have the chance to
yeah.
do it.
And thank you to the Money on Chain community for supporting Bitcoin Plus Plus and giving us opportunity to talk about what we're doing to your audience. And good luck to everyone that applies for a ticket. I really hope that we get lots of people that are able to come. So come hang out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Remember, so for all our public and audience, remember that you can get the chance to earn a 50% discount on your ticket if you share the tweet from the Spanish account that we're going to be sharing in a minute after this stream ends. So, Lisa, thank you. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Lewis.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.